And good morning on this March the 16th. I believe that's what it is. Yes, March the 16th. Had to be sure. 6:05 Eastern Standard Time. Got a new monitor, so I'm still getting used to looking at it. Although it should be the same. It's bigger, and I just have to look around a little bit more. I'm Dave the AM, the Cornbread Man. A little darker in the studio today. Not reflecting any kind of mood or anything, but it is a little darker. Storms through the night. I don't know of any damage. We've had a lot of rain. I've heard a few thunderstorms, boomers that have woke me up. Did get an alert from my job. We have a system that sets us up in case there is, some sort of high wind effect or event or something like that. And about probably 3 hours ago, I received an alert that there was up to 50 to 60 mile an hour winds in the area as it traveled through. So I hope that wherever you are, there is no problem. But there has definitely been that going across the Midwest into the Southeast for sure. Pretty wide range, covers several states at a time. Big system behind it, going to turn colder. Not bitter cold. People are kind of exaggerating, I think, the event just a little bit on that. But it'll be a little colder for us for a couple of days. So that's the way March is. There used to be an event that we portrayed as, I never got to do it. I've been there, but never got to do the event where people who were reenacting certain events during the war between the states. And one of those events occurred in the Nashville General Greater area during March. And you never knew how to dress for that because it would be either burning up or freezing. And I've seen people that were just, dying of thirst. And I've also seen people that were curled up around a campfire, burning their clothes a little bit because they were freezing to death. So you never know in March. March is a weird month for that. Of course, everybody remembers the big snowstorm of 93 in this area. For us is big. And, we still get a few thunderstorms. You might hear that in the background. A little thunder. Still hear the rain trickling down. You might hear that on the roof. But anyway, nonetheless, hope you have your coffee this morning. Get up, pray up. Coffee up is our slogan. Has been for some time. I remember we were very first starting to do morning shows. We had just started doing them. And I was looking for something. That's when I sort of became known as Dave in the AM because we had never did a really early show before. So I became known as Dave in the AM. And I was looking for a little slogan. And I was just thinking about those things you should be doing in the morning. First, you get up, and then the next thing you do is pray up. And for us, it was always coffee. So coffee up, get up, pray up, coffee up. And you may have heard of some of the promos that our friend Cowboy Cook has done. And he says that to varying degrees. He may change it a little bit, but that's basically, it's kind of catchy, and it fits. Get up, pray up, coffee up. And I've heard some variations. I think some people may do that a little bit different way, but for us, that's the way it's always been. I've enjoyed that slogan. Let's get our we're going to attempt, and I haven't, hopefully this won't be a problem. I don't think it will be, but we'll make sure that we can do this because we've not shared screen with the new monitor. It's a pretty higher level monitor, but it shouldn't be a problem. Our verse of the day, share screen here. There we go. From Hebrews 12:28, wherefore we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved. Amen to that. Let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear. There's always, people get kind of confused between the two types of fear. There is that paralyzing fear where you're just, people are just afraid to even move. But then there's a reverential fear, the godly fear, a respectful fear of God, meaning, it's like our parents, we do those things they ask us to do, It's not a paralyzing fear. It shouldn't be. It should be that we have respect and we want to, do what they ask us to do, and we should want to do that. for our Lord Jesus Christ. And so there you go. It's a beautiful scene, by the way, too. I like that picture. I love those verses with the pictures. It just seems to hit even harder, although that really has nothing to do with the word. It's just for our minds. It's the way we're made. We're very visual people. If it's, they always say we use all the senses and we learn that way, you know. And so when you're doing training and stuff, way back when, they would talk about use of sound, color, pictures, always important in that. If you can put your hands on it, even more so, you learn to write it down. You learn all kinds of things to hear it, of course. Our verse of the day. I always start things off with the Bible. You can't hardly go wrong with that. National days today. It's National not girl but curl, CURL, crush day. So if you're crushing the curls today, it's your day. A lot of people have curly hair. Some people spend a lot of money and time trying to make sure they have curly hair or not have curly hair. But today it's National Curl Crush Day. And so there you go. National Panda Day. Pandas are neat creatures. There's been dangers of them. They've been on endangered list. And, they've done a lot of work over the last few decades to protect them. And, I don't know where it stands today, although they're still protected. And, but they're really cute, the coloring on them. And, the China pandas and all that. But it's National Panda Day today. So if you're able to get out and go to a zoo or something that has a panda, then have at it and salute them, I guess, or something. It's National Artichoke Hearts Day. I'm not into that. I'm not into Artichoke Hearts Day. Enjoy that, though. I need this kind of day, National Everything You Do Is Right Day. I don't know if I've ever had a day like that in my life. I've had days where I felt like I was really on my game. Like you get in the zone. You ever had a day you just feel like you're in the zone? Like you just feel like, man, everything I'm doing is it's like you're draining the bucket. The shots are going in. Everything's working. Hello to those of you on Instagram. God bless. As well as other ones this morning. I can see names on some of those, though. X and Facebook and Rumble and all those. But yeah, everything you do is right day. That's a good feeling. It's like it's like, wow, it's like I timed it right. All the lights in town are green as I go through. It's like I timed this just right. It's like we did anything. We really didn't do anything. We just seems the way we got caught into that. But so it feels good. Everything you do is right day. Just tell them, at work today, everything I do is right. Of course, that would mean it's right for them too. But I made the best decision. FOIA Day, National Freedom of Information Day. FOIA. File those FOIAs with local municipalities, governments. I know they have to have people that are just doing that a lot of times. Smaller communities, it's got to bog down. And I get it. It's just that, when you put in that request, it could be from many things. And it takes a while to, go through all the records and get that. And then I have to print that out. I think a lot of times it may be electronic these days. Back in the days gone by, they may still be printed in many cases, but they can give you like audio, like you could get you can get it on anything if it's approved. Some things are beyond the scope of being able to get that. But if you had, I remember back when it was that trial from South Carolina. What was that idiot's name that killed his family? Anyway, there were people that got the jailhouse recordings. They filed the FOIA, and you have to be specific. They don't give you every single thing, but they were looking for a time frame, and they were able to get that. So they were submitted, and I was listening to some of those online from someone who filed that, and then used that on the show. But it's an ordeal. It's a process. You don't get it on just anything. You can't walk in and say, I just want, every document ever related to whatever. You got to be specific with a lot of it. And it's kind of a shot in the dark. Do your research, know what you're looking for. There are some people do it just to bog the system down. I'm not sure. That's somebody's job, and I get it. You can do it. But it's there for us to use in case we're trying to find information about something that's get the transcripts from something, get the emails related to something or whatever, and certainly, but the data drop like in some things you get there's millions of pages if it's a big thing, so they just have to drop that down. What they couldn't print all that off. I mean, it would be impossible. It would take years to do that because of all the different things. It might be audio, it might be pictures, video, whatever. And in the case of Epstein, it's a big database, like 3 million or more. It's really more because they've already done some, but it's a big thing. So they have to release it. People are going through that stuff night and day, but it's going to take years, even no matter how it goes, how many's going through it, to put all eyes on all and most of it are probably just stuff that mundane. There's nothing to it. Got the heater fixed today or something. It has nothing to do with anything. But you're coming through a lot of data to get what you're looking for if you can find it. So maybe nothing, maybe useful, maybe not. But somebody's got to sit and go through all that. Of course, there are computer systems now that can do some of that for you, depending on the format it's in. AI is useful that way, so that would be a useful thing. Birthdays today. Andrew Jackson, 1767 to 1845. Some people liked him, some people didn't, but he was the U.S. president. And, of course, he has been deceased a long, long time. Andrew Jackson. Will.i.am, 51 today. Happy birthday to you, sir. Anybody else? Well, she's been dead a long time. I never was a fan. I did not like, and not because she's a female, I did not like some of her rulings, obviously, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg, very, very, there's several things there I do not like that she had her own personal beliefs about females even. It was horrendous. But she was a trailblazer, I guess is what I'm looking for. She was able to do things that, a lot of people have never done before, or was a leader in that. So anyway, she died 5 years ago. 1933 she was born. Anybody else we want to highlight today? Frances Conroy, 73, actress. I remember her in several things. Judd Hirsch, 91. God, has it been that long? Wow. 91 years old, Judd Hirsch. I had no idea. You just forget your age, Tom Bateman, actor, 37. Sean Bridges, actor, 58. Been in many things I have watched. And I think that's, Kim Raver, 57. I've seen her in a few things. Bret Michaels from the rock band Poison, mostly solo these days, although they are talking about a tour next year. It didn't get together today. What are they calling that? 40 plus 1, 50 plus 1. I think it's 40 plus 1, right? They're going to do, hopefully, maybe get that together one more time for the band. And I didn't know that Dee Snider was born on the same day, 71. A lot of health problems for the old D man. Had to totally retire, and he has a lot of physical problems. It just physically could not do it. He has heart, all kinds of problems, arthritis. So hopefully he'll be able to live his days in peace. He rocked out really hard. We're not going to take it, he sang about. That's about it. I think that's it for today on birthdays. This day in history, one I wanted to highlight. Journalist Terry Anderson, remember him being taken hostage in Beirut? That was a TV event. He was kidnapped off the streets of Beirut, Lebanon. He remained a hostage of Hezbollah for nearly 7 years. Can you imagine? It's impossible. 7 years of your life gone, going through that, being held captive by people who hate you, being used as a pawn for political reason, and to finally be, set free. He has since passed, but he died in 24. I remember that when they announced that. He was a journalist, combat veteran. He worked for the AP. And that was in 1985, the Shia Hezbollah militants of the Islamic Jihad organization in Lebanon, and held until 91. And 2004, he ran unsuccessfully for the Ohio State Senate. He was from Lorain, Ohio, born in 1947. He was a Marine Corps in the Marine Corps for 6 years, and he also served as a combat journalist for 5 years among Japan, Okinawa, and Vietnam. He served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. He was a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps. And he spent his final years in Ames, Iowa, as a recruiter for the Marine Corps during the Vietnam War. After his discharge, he enrolled in Iowa State University, graduating in 1974 with dual degrees in journalism and mass communication. And he had a political science as well. He's employed as a part-time photographer and reporter at KRNT radio and television station in Des Moines. Then he joined the AP, serving in Kentucky, Japan, and South Africa before being assigned to Lebanon. Well, you got to know if you're being sent to Lebanon. I mean, you're excited in one way. They always are about that's always dangerous duty. For the next 2.5 years, beginning in 83. On March 16th, 85, he had just finished a tennis game when he was abducted from the street in Beirut, placed in the trunk of a car, and taken to a secret location where he was imprisoned. For the next 6 years and 9 months, so almost 7 years, he was held captive, but being moved periodically to new sites. His captors were a group of Hezbollah Shia Muslims who were supported by Iran in supposed retaliation for Israel's use of U.S. weapons and aid in the 82-83 strikes against Muslim and Druze targets in Lebanon. He was the longest held of the Western hostages captured by Hezbollah in an effort to drive U.S. military forces from Lebanon during the Lebanese Civil War. During his captivity, numerous persons fiercely advocated for his release, including the Pope, Mother Teresa, even Yasser Arafat. I wonder how hard he really. He would double speak. Oh, Arafat. I don't know how hard he worked at that. And Ronald Reagan. Professional journalist Dan Rather and Kevin Cooney was a close friend of Anderson's from Anderson's days in Iowa. His fellow colleagues at the AP and numerous other journalists who had covered war zones. He was released on December 4th, 1991, and said he had forgiven his captors. Later, when asked if he would return to the Middle East as a correspondent, he stated, "I wouldn't go there for $1 million. It's very dangerous." Amen to that. What did he do afterwards? Well, he taught courses at the Columbia Graduate School of Journalism and at the E.W. Scripps School of Journalism at Ohio University. He wrote a best-selling memoir of his experience as a hostage titled Den of Lions in 1994. He filed a lawsuit against the Iranian government for his captivity, and in 2000 was awarded a $324 million settlement for frozen Iranian assets by U.S. District Judge Thomas Penfield Jackson, based on a 1996 anti-terrorism law, which allows United States citizens who are victims of terrorist acts abroad the right in U.S. courts to sue foreign countries which are classified as sponsors of terrorism by the United States State Department. Estimates put the amount he actually received at $26 million. The judgment from U.S. District Judge also awarded $10 million to his second wife, Madeline Bassel, and $6.7 million to their daughter, with $40 million for his parents. And there were additional lawsuits filed. So I didn't remember that he got that money. Good for him. Rest in peace, my friend. What a story. He became what the reporter never wants to be, the story, or they shouldn't want to be. I think nowadays there's a lot of people searching or trying to be the story. We have that. I mean, people make up stuff. People that lie, and say they're pregnant or whatever, or they got cancer, and they try to become the story when there is no story. He became the story that was a story. Interesting for him. Interesting. I can imagine almost 7 years of captivity by that group. It's not Club Med. I mean, you know what? It makes me want to read his memoir. I didn't know that he had the memoir. I think I will find the time. I've got so many books I'm reading, but I need to find the time to read that at some point. I think that would be a good read, just to see some of that, to absorb some of what he went through as an American citizen abroad in a very, as he said, dangerous place. And it's still dangerous. They're a puppet government, always have been, or they always are working at the behest of other nations, Syria being one of them, but others. They've worked with the Iraqis. I mean, in Lebanon, at one time, it was such a beautiful place. They have the ocean there. It's so And I get all these people that want to hate on Israel, and they hate them, and they want to say that they're cause of all the problems in the Middle East. But they're not causing all the problems within their own country when they just fight each other and they attack each other, and you have a militant state. You could change. You could become a better country. I mean, there are they just are that way, and it's the wrong groups have a hold of them, and it can be done. It can be done, but until they do it, I mean, their countries are just going to be, sad to say, honestly, hellholes. And Lebanon has a lot to offer, and this is a very biblical area. I mean, think about all the things you hear about or read about in the scriptures from Lebanon, the cedars of Lebanon, and this, just ruin it. The one country that comes really close to capturing that is Jordan, and they have a lot of tourism. They have agreements with Israel. I mean, you don't see Israel bombing Jordan, and that's what all these people say, that Israel just wants to attack all their neighbors. Well, then why aren't they attacking Jordan? They have business agreements. They work together. I'm not saying it's always perfect, because it's two different countries. There's going to be disagreements, but they've worked together on the Dead Sea, formerly known as the Salt Sea, because they both capture tourism from there, because it's been getting lower and lower, and they've been working to replenish. But tourism, you can go to those sites in Jordan. There's a lot of places you can go in the Middle East even for tourism, no matter what kind of tourism. But you can go there, and it's just unfortunate that they live in that kind of mentality that they don't want that. At one time, Jordan was much more warlike with Israel. We think of the 6 Day War and previous wars. I remember as a great show of respect when the Heshemite kingdom and the former king, the current leader's father, who was coming back from, he had cancer really bad, and he came to the United States to try to get treatment. It just wasn't going to work, and so they flew home, and Israel opened up their airspace, and escorted them across the Israeli airspace in a gesture of friendship between the nations. And that was a pretty cool moment that he passed. And I know people from Jordan that live in the States now. They're U.S. citizens, and they, it's that's one country that kicked Arafat and his bunch out. Black Monday or whatever it was called. Remember that? Early 70, 71, whatever it was. They kicked them all out. That's when they went to Tunisia before they got over there and started all the hijackings and everything of their airplanes. I mean, they didn't want them there. They were causing problems in their country, and they said, get out. They kicked every one of them out. If you're in this group, you're out. And that's the way they have to handle it, and that's what you'd like to see Lebanon do, is take back their country. I mean, get rid of these people, go after them, either banish them, imprison them, de-arm them, and get the muscle to do it, and you take your country back. And there's 2 or 3 like that needs to happen. But it's just unfortunate. There is so much tourism that could occur throughout the Middle East that would pay a lot of people would make a lot of money. I mean, it drives a lot of Israeli economy. The tourists that come in, when they don't, it's hard. I mean, they sell a lot of things to a lot of countries. They very big in medical research and diamonds. It's a big diamond trade there, and there's a lot of things: fruits and vegetables, flowers, and lots of things. There's a huge Motorola plant in Israel. These other countries could have that, and there's companies that are ready and willing to establish huge facilities in these countries and put these people to work if they would just kind of have some kind of peace there. I mean, you have to establish your own peace. They have their own internal, deaths, hit squads, whatever. I mean, that's an old story, but it's the truth. It's the doggone truth. And if you can't get that, then people are not going to invest money. Man, who would invest money in a place where your workers are in danger of being shot, your place in danger of being bombed, taken over? It's just not going to happen. And you can't expect people to do that. I mean, if it's your company, you're going to put it where, I mean, there's the opportunity for some terror group to come in, just take it over, take you hostage, shoot at your workers. I mean, so because it's going to be foreign investment, it's not going to be homegrown until they can. It's going to take a long time to build that at home. So you're going to need some foreign investment to come in and build those facilities and put those workers to work. A lot of those workers in the PA areas, but also others, they cross into Israel daily. Don't know how much that's happening now. Think about all those people, they work in Israel. That's their jobs. They get worker passes, visas. They come in, and they do a lot of the construction. They do a lot of the farming, the harvesting and stuff like that. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of them, if not a few million, but certainly hundreds of thousands. They cross in every day. Occasionally, you'll get a terrorist that does that, and he acts up in the country and sadly kills somebody or attacks somebody. And then they're dealt with. But all those people, that's their jobs. They're just looking for an opportunity, and they can't get it in their own country, and they can't get it in the PA area. They can't get it in, I mean, they don't have the work for them. Well, why? Because of their attitude. Because of, they can't move past. They want to destroy and not build up. And it's going to take a lot of it's going to take some what I would call statesmen, people that are bold and brave to change what's going on. And there are people like that are working in those areas on both sides, whoever the both sides are. If it's within the country or if it's between nations, there are people that are trying to do that. High caliber people that are saying, listen, we're not going to get anywhere with what we're doing. This is not going to work. And we've got to come up with a better game plan here. And war is just never, I mean, it's always ugly. And so we've got people that are, trying every day to be that. They're reaching across, they're shaking hands with their counterparts across into the other country or the other situation or whatever. And they're trying to build a coalition and get more and more people like that. And it's going to take that. Not one country is going to be able to change. That's going to change with people. And it's going to change with, getting the right kind of leadership in, no matter where that's at. And, listen, that doesn't even matter. Like, even if you don't care for your neighbor, you don't care for the neighboring country, just stop the battle, declaw, stand down, and at some point it just has to happen, or you're not, you're just not going to have, your country is always going to be in a sad situation. And you just think about those people that have lived generations like it. And I will start with the UN. I will start with the UN. It is absolutely, this is why I hate the UN. This is absolutely why I hate the UN with a passion, is they have had those camps over there who are just terror breeding grounds. That's what they are. They are. I mean, our tax dollars have helped finance this for 50, 60 years. It's probably 60 years now. These people have no country. They cannot vote. They don't have freedom of movement or anything like that. And they're basically a welfare village, little city, whatever. And they keep them that way so that they always have, I mean, they're supposedly in stasis until, they get their own state or whatever, the Palestinians, whatever. These people have lived and died in these camps now going on all these years. And this is where a lot of your terrorists come from. Not all of them, but many of them in that region. And the UN has never had a plan other than just keep them bottled up like that. These people have no rights. They have, again, they're basically no citizen of any country because they don't live in a country. They live in an area. So and in their own area, they have to stay in their own areas. They don't have the right to, for anything. And so they're just, they feed them, clothe them, medical, whatever. That's not freedom. That's like being sent to the reservation. I mean, really, that's exactly it. You get sent there and you can't leave. And you're forced there, and you don't have rights that other people that are in the same areas of the place you live. And that's what we did, and it was horrible and ugly. That's what they've done. And these people deserve freedom. You got to do something with this because it just builds hate. and more hate because they're frustrated of their situation. They want to change it. Of course, they blame Israel, but let's blame the ones who keep them there. That's the United Nations. That's the ones who keep them in it, and other Arab countries that want to absorb them. Let's absorb them in. Give them citizenship. Let's give them a place where they can become college educated, where they can have a business or whatever it is that they want to do. Instead, they just keep them holed up in those little UN-run cities. And I mean, if you don't have a better plan than that after all this time, you should cease to be an organization because you have no answers. And you could have had the power to move this. You've settled things in other areas, but you refuse to because you want to keep the pressure on. That's what you do. Rain, rain, go away, Jerry Barrett says. Well, we got in a lot of it. It was the squishy walk to the studio. Fortunately, it was not over my shoe, or it'd be wet sock day. Good morning, my friend. How are things in Oxford, Georgia? Getting up. Hope you had a great Sunday, my friend. Rearing and ready to go. Hope you don't have to visit doctor or anything today. I hope you just can enjoy your day, working around the old ranch. Yeah, it's wet. Yeah, it is really wet, my friend. Gonna get a little colder. Get your long johns back out. Maybe double long johns. A little cooler for the folks. As you tonight and tomorrow night, I think it's going to be in the upper 20s tonight or something like that, or in the morning. So then it'll kind of drift back up. Nothing big. I'm really okay until it gets to be like below 20. I don't like lower 20s. Upper 20s ain't that bad because it's really close to the freezing temp. And honestly, if the surface temperature is pretty warm, it's really not that big a deal unless there is moisture. But when you get down in the teens, that's when it gets to be, that's when it gets real, as the kids would say. Oh, no, and thank goodness. Hopefully some of this will dry out. Again, the surface temperature is warm. I don't think it'll be. There's some snow showers. It's not going to do anything. But if it's 27, there could be an area where you get a little icy on the road. So be careful, and you're moving around. Shout out to Denny Hamlin, who won the race yesterday. We're going to talk about that tonight on the SFP Racing Hour. We do have a guest. I'll contact them this morning and email them or text them. Jerry said I had a really great day yesterday. He had 6 visitors. Yay! It's always good for a church. It just makes you feel, good to have some visitors walk in. You love your church family, but it's good to have some visitors come in. Hopefully they had a good time. I'm sure they did. I never even. I don't have to. I mean, I've watched your church service. I've not been in the church, but I know that you probably had a great time in the house of God, and I'm sure that they were blessed mightily. I know God meets with you there and blesses your church, and I bet they had a crackerjack time. That's an old expression. Remember the old Cracker Jacks? You get the little prize. You know what my favorite part of the Cracker Jacks was? It really wasn't the prize. I was neat as a kid. It was the little peanuts. I enjoyed those little, and it was always in the bottom. You had to take out all the rest to get to those peanuts. I love peanuts. I like those little nuts that's in the Cracker Jacks. I used to love those. But I like the whole thing. I mean, it's still fun today for me. Now you get them in a bag, the little cardboard box, little rectangular box. We got those for decades. But the little bag, I still will pick those up from time to time, although I shouldn't have them. It's rare. I mean, I don't do it like every week or even every few months. But it's probably once or twice a year that I have found myself buying the Cracker Jacks. And I like them. I like Cracker Jacks, That's kind of a neat snack. Gets your hands a little sticky. It's like, what's the chips? They just get all over your hand. I mean, there's several like that, but the one are worse than the rest. Oh my gosh, cheese puffs or something like that. It just gets all over your hand. If you're going down the road, it's frustrating. You don't have to wipe on your shirt or your pants. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't gonna say that. I have done that, If the shirt's dirty or already kind of dirty, I might do that. Country boy can survive. Doritos can be like that. Um, the cherries, okay, yeah. Fuck God, yeah. Couldn't think of that. Um, but I like that. And hey, when you was a kid, the gifts were actually pretty neat. The little tattoo thing or the little magnifying glass they would have. You used to be able to get those for a little, yeah, Cheetos. That's what I was trying to think of. Cheetos, man, they get everywhere. Got that stuff all over your hand. And listen, I've never been one. My wife has done it. I don't know what it is. My phone is acting stupid today. It's changing my words. Oh, sure. Okay, I was thinking. I got you. Cheetos, cherry Cheetos. Uh, but I've never been one to lick my fingers. They always say that expression, finger looking good. I guess that was KFC, right? Was that KFC that came up with that? I don't. I just have never wanted to do that. My wife, I can remember her just I won't do it. I'll wipe my hands on a napkin or a cloth or something. I just don't. I don't know what it is. I'm a quirky kind of guy. I really am. I'm not. I guess I'm not true Southern. Which, God, I guess I'm not. But I am in many ways. But I guess I'm not totally. I don't. Yeah, that's what I thought. Colonel Sanders started that trend. And by the way, bring the Colonel back, and not that fake, phony accent doofus that they had playing Colonel Sanders. Bring back the real Colonel. I mean, come on. There used to be a few KFCs yet out there that still had the Colonel like as a statue. There was one in, I think it was Arkansas. It's like a bench there. He's sitting there, and you can sit and take pictures with him. I bet they've removed all that. I hope not. Trying to get all woke and all this stuff, and he represents the old South and all that. He's just that was just the Colonel. I mean, it was a big deal. It was just and his story was really interesting. The guy who started that. They just, like I said, they kill Aunt Jemima. I mean, they kill all this stuff, and it's like they don't even stop to think about how they've impacted the families of stuff that have benefited from that for generations. And, everybody's you don't hear about it as much today. It's still out there. It's a trend to go out and clean up history. You can't clean it up. Stop. History is history. You can't go back and change it. It is what it is. It's history. It may be good, may be bad, may be ugly, may be wonderful, maybe just, whatever. It's history. When we lived in Sarasota, Florida, I was a young boy, and there was a float that came by, and Colonel Sanders was standing at the front of it, holding a bucket of chicken, eating a chicken leg. That was awesome. There you go. See? And that's a great memory for you. You're like, Colonel Sanders, yeah. You still remember that all these years later. And listen, not to be, I do still go to KFC. I like the crispy. Some say the chicken is not as good, as it was a long time ago. They changed things. I don't know. But it is, I still enjoy it. My wife likes those pot pies, It's hard for her now to eat the chicken like she used to. So she just still has that in it. But they want to change things. I mean, it's just like constantly change things. And they, change up, like stop, this image. Or like the teams, the baseball teams, the football teams. I mean, really? Commanders? And what's the other one? I can't even remember now. Oh, man. Because you remember them by the name that you've known them by your whole life. I mean, you just know the name of that. And it really stinks that Watchman doesn't like KFC. I will say it's not the same as it used to be. I don't think that it is. There's definitely some things that have changed. Well, Watchman, do you like No, I'm not saying you're old, Jerry. I'm not saying you're old. No, you're a statesman. Which one do you like, Popeyes or any of the others? There's quite a few. He's not a fan of KFC. Not a fan. Uh, but I do, and I do like my senior. I will say this, Jerry. They do give you that senior discount. For years, when I guess from the time you're about 55 on, you're eligible in some places for it. I honestly, up until recently, I've never asked for it. I never thought about it. I just didn't think about myself that way. And I was at KFC in the drive-through. My wife wanted to go there after church one day, and the lady says, because she told me the total, and when I got up to the window, she says she changed the total, and I looked at her and she said, "Oh, I gave you your senior discount." And I thought, I got a senior discount. I looked at my wife and I thought, because I think I had just, I don't remember if I was 60 yet or I just turned 60. I don't remember. And I looked at my wife and I said, because she's a little older than me, and I'm like, "Oh, that was a nice discount." And it wasn't that I'm like, God, I don't want to ask for that. I feel old. I just never thought about it. And so now at KFC, and honestly, I forget about it at other places to even ask sometimes. But at KFC, because she interacted with me that way, when I pull up to the window, I will tell them I would like to get my senior discount. I pull around. They'll say, "Sure, I'll have your new total for you when you get to the window." And it's kind of a nice benefit. Jerry says, and I will take it if they give it to me. Of course, I'm 65, so I usually get it. Um, the family, Watchman says, of Colonel Sanders has spoken out against what they have done to him, sexualizing Colonel Sanders, making satanic, blasphemous commercials. The grandson speaks out all the time, and he should. It's disgusting, using your word. It makes me sick. It makes me mad. I can remember one day that came on the TV, and I was just railing about it. My wife's looking at me, and I'm like, I get so sick of this crap. You know what? If you're not going to present him in the right way, don't present him at all. Which is, I mean, that was a joke, and I just get sick of that. I love that we have these little things from our past. I mean, it's just a part of us, and let's recognize the good or the bad of anything. But no matter what you do, you're going to offend somebody. So you can't make everything where it's all equal. Everybody's happy. Nobody, because what you do is offend everybody then. And some people will cheer on something like that, and then they will. I always say, well, just wait. If they did it to this one, they're coming for your symbols as well. Somebody down the line is not going to like your symbol. They're not going to like your monument. They're not going to. And I'm telling you, if they ever try to, the people have rose up and they've been fighting to get monuments restored, and there's been laws broken by many cities and municipalities, especially here in Georgia. I was in the group that helped to get that pushed through by our senator. Many senators helped, but especially one. We got the monument protection law. There are things they have to do to go through to be able to do that. There have been laws broken. There are massive lawsuits in Georgia that are still working their way through the courts, and some people need to be hit hard on this. But wait till it's. I mean, can you imagine if they tried to tear down the Vietnam Wall, the memorial? Can you imagine? Of course, I know a lot of our Vietnam vets are passing, but I'm going to tell you what, that would be, just let them try that. But give it 50 years, and what will they do? Well, that war represents everything that's bad. Let's just take it down. I mean, because that's what, just leave it. Leave it alone. Um, I don't know if I saw that, Watchman. Worshipping a chicken, baptizing a man in gravy, feeds him to the masses. Believe it's in Chicken Part 1 and 2. Man, if I heard it was in the background, I didn't realize what it was. I'll look that up. It seems like that gravy part seems like that reminds me of something in my brain that maybe I heard it and didn't see it. I'll look that up. It's horrible. It's horrible. But I don't know if they still have them. Do they still have any of the KFCs that are like the buffet? Those are pretty nice. I haven't seen one in a long time. They weren't everywhere, but you could, they had the little, you could have the little all you can eat buffet there, pay a price, just like some other places. It was kind of nice. It wasn't a huge bar, but it had a lot of stuff on it. I mean, obviously potatoes and stuff, macaroni and cheese, and chicken strips, things like that. But you could really, you could load up, as they say, and go out. The first time I ever seen one, well, I think they had one in a town south of me for a while, but I don't know if because I never went to the KFC there until way later, and only went there once or twice. And honestly, that KFC was kind of going downhill. They've since replaced it. But I was traveling through Tennessee, and I can't remember what town I was in. Me and my wife, we were traveling. We stopped. She said KFC, and we didn't even know they had it. It's the first time we ever saw one. We were like kids in a candy store, like, "Hey, they've got a buffet." It's like, we'll take that. I bought a local paper. I love to do that. Love to eat somewhere, buy a local paper, and see what kind of news they have in that area. I've done that for years, and that was a fascinating article in that paper too. I said Tennessee. It might even, I think it was Tennessee, yeah, but it was about some. It was near Kentucky line, I think, because they were talking about a lot of stuff in Kentucky. That's what it was. So I can't remember what city though. You see the signs. You're like, hey, okay, just be picking out. My wife, I tell her that, and we drove for 20 miles, and she's still looking. And I'm like, are you going to pick something? Well, I don't know. Well, I'm going to pick the next exit we're going to choose. I'm getting hungry. It's like she just couldn't choose. Now, sometimes she can. My wife, if she's going down the road, she would always want to go to Buc-ee's. She would always choose a Cracker Barrel or a Golden Corral or Ryan's back in the day. A Fuddruckers. She would always choose stuff like that. She likes that. Oh my goodness. Tonight we will have again our SFP Racing Hour Dirt Report and Sports. We will be talking to a driver tonight. I hope everything goes according to plan on that. I will reach out again today and ensure. Didn't want to bother over the week of this. I was thinking about yesterday, and I thought I don't really want to bother them on their Sunday, but I'll reach out early today. And we are supposed to have Presley Sorrell on with us tonight at actually I think we're going to kick in about 5:30, so a little bit earlier start for that, and we'll do all the normal things. Tomorrow night we have Mark Bangs. He's going to be interviewing a dirt track driver, and Friday night we have where's he at? We've got Robert Deaconper will be with us. Big week for inventory interviews with that. And we have I looked up. I actually went to that's next Monday. The Friday interview is Jim Droskam's. And all of these, I believe, are remote, meaning they're going to come in by video. If they're close enough, they like to come in the studio. But I believe that all of these are by remote. So we will see. But Presley Sorrell is up tonight. Presley Sorrell Racing, and looking forward to talking to Mr. Sorrell and see what he's got. If you want fried chicken, go to Strickland's or a restaurant or get some chicken cooked by grandma's. Yeah. And get homemade sides and something out of a boiled bag. Yeah. You know what we've done many times is we'll go get the bucket and we cook everything at home. We'll have on a pot of beans. We'll have some potatoes, green beans, something like that. Some cornbread, or if we prefer biscuits or whatever. And then we'll just go get a bucket of chicken. We'll create all the sides ourselves. We might buy a little bit of gravy to pour over it, or we'll just have gravy. I made some hamburgers last night and put it in the gravy, the brown gravy, and I had a lot of spices on it. Boy, it was good. A little bit of potatoes. Me and my wife were enjoying that last night. My wife just can't cook anymore, and she's stuck with my cooking. But we do cook. We still cook. Not every day, but we try to. Some days you just go light. But yeah, it's still popular to go get the bucket of chicken if you're heading to a funeral home or some dinner and you don't want to. And people use Walmart too, and they've done a pretty good job on chicken. I wouldn't say it's the best, but most people like it. You can do that as well and take it to your church dinner or whatever, or get someplace to do the chicken strips. I've seen churches do that. They'll have somebody make that. They'll cater that in. Then everybody makes all the sides. You can do that. But you still got those folks. They just standing there frying up all that chicken and bring it to the church dinner and make me and Brother Jerry happy. I don't know where it came from that Baptist preachers have to have fried chicken. I don't know where that started. Jerry, if you're still out there, do you got any idea? I'm fixing to have to get off here. We can continue the discussion in another show, but where in the world did that come from? Because every church I've ever went to, they'll say, "Don't worry, preacher, we got you on the fried chicken." And I'm like, I like it, but it's not, it's not nothing I have to have, Anyway, hey, have a great day out there. I'm going to work, and pray for the lady that only have one employee that works for me. We're a small department now, started with 3 down to 1, and myself. And yeah, I've heard that, Watchman, and I don't want us to be involved in any of that. I don't. They said they didn't want to do that, but I've heard about it. Yeah, have a good day, Jerry. Jerry, where'd that come from? I ask you, where'd that fried chicken for preachers come from? But y'all have a great day. Be safe in the weather. We'll see you tonight, Lord willing. We've done a lot of work in the studio. You can't see all of it. It's really opened up the studio for guests. We're still working on some things. We got to work on our mics to be able to do that. But hopefully tonight we can still have it about the way we want it. Don't know if Biscuit Boy's going to join us, maybe. But you both you gentlemen and every other person out there, have a great day. Going to go up and get my wife up and everything. My sister's going to be watching her until Mother Help arrives, and then I will have her again tonight, full time. Have to be somebody with her all the time. So I'll pray for her mainly. Pray for our troops today. Pray for the nation. Pray for any needs that are out there. Mainly pray that people will be born again into the family of God. That's our only hope, is Jesus Christ. It's not based in government. It's based upon the power and the might and the blood of Jesus Christ. Have a great day. We'll see you tonight. And thanks for give us a like, follow, share, all those good things on here at the Southern Patriots TV and radio. Yes, we're having an app. We'll be having an app in a short time. So we already have a radio, have a rebranding kickoff on that in the next, hopefully this week. Take care, though. God bless. It started. There it is.